Hi guys, welcome to our purposive communication subject, and for today we will be talking about conveying messages through written communication. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to discuss the importance of written communication to convey messages, familiarize yourselves with the methods of paragraph development, and lastly is to demonstrate the ability to write an opinion essay. Mastering the basic structure in essay writing is a foundation of effectively communicating through written materials. Whoever the audience and whatever the purpose, writing an essay has different steps. The first one is to decide on the topic. After that, you will be preparing an outline or diagram of your ideas. Next is to formulate a thesis statement. Write an introduction, write the body, decide on the main points, write the supporting ideas, elaborate on the supporting ideas, write the conclusion, and of course add information when needed upon editing and proofreading. Now let's talk about the methods of paragraph development. Paragraph development helps you follow ideas easily and understand a text better. Having the ability to recognize it will help you to distinguish major details from minor ones and predict ideas. So there are different patterns by which ideas are developed. In determining the paragraph or pattern of development of ideas in a text, it is important to note the signal words. However, always remember that the most important thing is that you understand the meaning of the text. The first method we have definition. It explains the meaning of a concept on an idea, showing the details, giving examples, describing, analyzing using symbols, antonyms, and the like. This explains the technical terms and jargons to prepare the intended reader for the topic to be discussed. And when we say technical terms and jargons, these are languages that are being used specifically into a particular group or profession. By using definition to develop an idea, it helps you to clarify and explain the concept by answering the question, what does it mean? This pattern explains the information through the use of illustrations, examples, as well as descriptions. So it may also include one or more different patterns. It is important to take note of the term to be identified and the detailed explanation of the term, as these are the most important parts of this pattern. So take note of the signal words that are being used in definition. We have is defined as, refers to, means, to define, and to illustrate. So these are the signal words that you need to see in a paragraph in order for you to know that that specific paragraph used a definition pattern. Let's take a look at the example for definition. Social engineering is defined as any method which tricks people to share personal information through the use of technology. The social component in this scheme means there is reliance on various psychological tricks and on the gullibility of users rather than technical hacking. Social engineering also refers to various malicious acts online, such as phishing, spamming, and pretexting. Second, we have classifications. It breaks down information into parts in order to simplify a concept or to explain a series of things by discussing their individual parts. This pattern organizes ideas into categories or divisions. So based on the criteria, and it is based on the criteria and standards. So it can be used when classifying people, objects, events, things, places, and also other items. So make sure to always double check whether each term is undeniably part of a certain category. So I'll be giving you the different signal words that will help you to identify this pattern. We have another, kind, classified as, final type, one kind, the first category, the last group, and the next part. So those are the signal words that is being used for classification. Let's take a look at the example and try to look for the signal words that indicate the classification pattern. Earthquake can be classified into three main types based on the plate movements. The first type is known as a convergent boundary, also known as destructive plate boundary. This type of earthquake happens when two tectonic plates move toward one another and collide. The second type of earthquake is called the divergent boundary. During this type of earthquake, two plates are forced to move away from each other, resulting in a rift zone. The last type is called the conservative plate boundary or transform fault. During this type of earthquake, the two tectonic plates slide past one another. Can you give me the signal words that were used in the example? Next, we have process. Process describes a series of connected actions chronologically, in which the outcome is a product, a natural phenomenon, a mechanical process, or an effect of some kind. So process organizes ideas or events according to time. The most essential part of this pattern are the main idea, major dates, and events such as the final outcome or major steps or stages, and of course the order of the presentation. So I will be giving you the signal words that will help you to identify this pattern. We have about, after, afterwards, as soon as, at this point, before, during, eventually, finally, first, immediately, in the meantime, later, meanwhile, next, next week, presently, prior to, second, soon, then, till, today, tomorrow, until, when, and yesterday. So let's take a look at the example here and try to identify or indicate the signal words that are used in this type of development. One thing that may save your life is an improvised flotation device. You can make one using your pants. First, knot off the leg holes of your pants. Then, hold the open waist and swing the pants around to fill the legs with the air. Promptly knot off the waist to wrap the air and hold the pants underwater so that the air would not escape. So what are the signal words that were used in this example? Next, we have the comparison and contrast. It discusses similarities and differences between persons, things, events, or ideas. It is based on how events, places, people, things, and concepts are similar or different from one another. Concentrate on the most important parts of a comparison contrast pattern, the purpose of comparison, the points of comparison, and also the actual similarities and differences of the items being compared. We have the following signal words that are used for comparison. We have also, as, both, equally, in a similar fashion, in comparison, in the same way, like, likewise, similarly, to compare, although, and yet, as opposed to, but, conversely, counter to, despite, even so, even though, in contrast, in spite of, in the meantime, instead, however, nevertheless, nonetheless, on the contrary, on the other hand, otherwise, still, the fact remains, unlike, whereas, and yet. So let's have an example here and try to locate the signal words that are being used for comparison and contrast. Are you not sure yet which phone to buy? To help you decide, this review will inspect the basic similarities and differences of the flagship phones of two giant companies, Apple's iPhone 6 and Samsung's Galaxy S5. Both brag to the best smartphones in the market today. While these state-of-the-art phones have similarities in the form of their sleek design, multi-touch touchscreen, and multimedia features, they have their distinctive features as well. First, the Galaxy S5 has a larger screen at 5.1 inches as compared to iPhone 6's 4.7 inches. As for the operating system, iPhone 6 uses iOS 8 point something, while S5 uses Android 5.0 4.4.2. In terms of the camera, S5 has a 2.1 megapixel front-facing camera, which is higher than the iPhone 6's 1.2 megapixels. Unlike S5, iPhone 6's battery is not user replaceable and has a shorter talk time. But when it comes to built-in storage, the iPhone 6 outperforms S5. Now that you know the differences of the two phones, you can decide. Lastly, we have the cause and effect. Cause and effect discusses the reason of a state, condition, or a phenomenon and its consequences or results. This may discuss the causes only, the effects only, or it can be both. So here are the following signal words that will help you recognize this pattern. We have the signal words for cause. We have as, because, being that, due to, for the reason that, in view of, inasmuch as, one reason, owing to, seeing that, and since. And also for the effects, we have accordingly, as a consequence, as a result, because, consequently, for this reason, hence, in consequence, so, so much, so that, therefore, and thus. Let's try to look at the example and of course identify the different signal words that are being used in this cause and effect pattern. The advancement in technology and economy has created major changes in modern society. One of these changes is globalization. As we know, globalization has affected the world in many ways. First, it served as a catalyst to the worldwide trading, thus allowing countries to access foreign products. Although this has positive effects, it also poses a real threat to the merchandise of local traders. Second, globalization has affected the financial market. As a result, different countries have more access to funds, and exchange in national currencies has dramatically increased. Finally, globalization also led to the privatization of various facilities, such as public health institutions. These institutions are now being privatized due to the idea that the private sector can be better managed and provide health services. In consequence, health policies become more and more of a commodity on a global scale. Now let's talk about the essay in a three-fold frame. According to Aldous Huxley, an essay may be anchored on a threefold frame of reference. First, we have the personal or autobiographical. It is when a writer utilizes autobiography to be able to describe what he wants to convey. Second is the concrete particular, or the objective factual. It is when the writer anchors his judgments and perceptions based on the relevant and factual data. And lastly, we have the abstract universal. It is when a writer relies on the better abstractions than on the personal experiences or facts. There are three major reasons why essays are written. First is to inform, to explain, and lastly is to persuade. So in the opinionated essay, it is being written for many reasons. Maybe this is to convince others that one's stand of an issue is reasonable. Also, it is to influence others in their way of thinking and to persuade others to change their views and take the desired action. In formulating your argument in an essay, it is important to have your claims, reasons, and evidence. When it comes to claims, these are the verifiable statements or facts. So these are the issues of faith or belief, or the matters of simple opinion or personal taste. And for the reasons, it must be supported by reasons that the audience will accept. And for the evidence, it can be the support, facts, statistics. You can provide examples, authorities, anecdotes, case studies, and actual evidence to show that what you are writing is factual. So in formulating an opinion essay, we have three parts. First is the introduction, body, and conclusion. In introduction, it is where you establish an argument that is being exist by discussing its background. And for the body, it is where you provide evidences to defend your position. For conclusion, it is the part wherein you restate your position in terms of the argument defended or refuted. That's it for our lesson for today, conveying messages through written communication. I hope guys that you have learned something. Until next time.